Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Privacy Wizard here, and today we're going to talk a lot about Zcash and Zcash's weekly time frame Wyckoff accumulation structure and why I think Zcash is about to go significantly higher over the next few years. When I say significantly higher, I mean significantly higher. We're also going to take a look at the Zcash Bitcoin chart to see where kind of our next resistance levels are, but more so where are we looking at for the next, I don't know how long this is going to be, but we're going to take a long look at this Wyckoff accumulation structure. So if you guys don't know anything about the Wyckoff accumulation structure, is market makers love to paint bottoms and tops using a Wyckoff structure, whether it's a Wyckoff accumulation at lows or Wyckoff distribution at highs. What we have here for Zcash is your classic Wyckoff accumulation structure, and it really couldn't be more beautiful. I'm going to show you guys an example of another one that has played out, and basically why I think Zcash is going to play out. So when we have a look at sort of our Wyckoff accumulation structure, guys, here is we came down, we made our first low. Okay, we made our first low for Zcash down here at about $20, and that's our SC phase, right? Our first sign of strength. We came back up, right? We made our first little local high. Okay, came back down, came back up again. That makes our second high here. Came back down again. That makes our ST phase, Came back up, tested near the highs again, tested near the highs again. Came back down for the LPS phase, right? Came back down, and we want to make basically a grinding round structure, right? Here we have our grinded round structure, basically a third low, before then impulsing up. And normally with these impulsive structures to the upside on Wyckoff accumulations, guys, is those last about 5 waves. So if you look at where we are right now for our Wyckoff accumulation structure for Zcash, you guys can see how it is forming. Okay, and really what we have right now is, if I can find our Elliott wave here, is this is wave 1. All right, we're working on wave 2, and what comes next is our wave 3. Now typically wave 3 can be somewhere close to the size of wave 2, but really what we're looking at is a massive 5-wave structure out of this Wyckoff accumulation schematic. And I'm going to show you guys one that has played out in the crypto market as well. It's not going to be one that you necessarily are familiar with or use very often. But what you guys can see here is we're working on wave 2, and whether this kind of extends out and might take a little bit longer on Zcash for wave 2, we are getting ready for that wave 3, which I think is going to take us into the 4 digits, somewhere in the 4 digits for Zcash. My guess, we'll take a look at a couple of Fibonacci levels for Zcash, but this is kind of what we're looking at, and I think Zcash is about to go on a absolutely massive run into the 4 digits. And anyone that's accumulated anywhere below 900, I think is going to be a pretty happy camper. I'm a big believer in Zcash. I'm a big believer in the privacy narrative at the moment, simply because I think crypto lost its way. I think Bitcoin lost its way, being too institutionalized. And just from an idealistic standpoint, Zcash kind of gets us back to those crypto roots, right? Being our own bank, right? Sort of hiding our, not necessarily hiding, but having our finances and sort of being able to keep them in a private way, okay? So everyone doesn't see all our transactions, okay? Everyone doesn't know how much money we have. It doesn't know how much money we're spending, how much money we're moving around. It is such a good use case that so much in crypto does not have a use case, and privacy actually has a workable, fungible use case. Why is Zcash going up now? Well, it actually has a really good working wallet now. And I think just people are waking up and realizing that all these big countries are basically banning, or not necessarily banning, but taxing the rich, taxing the wealthy, unrealized gains. This is a way out of that. All right. If they don't know you have it, they can't tax the unrealized gains if you're your Zcash is shielded, right? But anyways, jump back into the technical analysis. We'll talk more about the fundamentals in future videos and why I'm so bullish on Zcash going forward. But this is kind of the Wyckoff accumulation structure, and you guys can see right now, I believe that we're sort of somewhere, and we're in an interesting phase. I think right now what we're actually in is this SOS phase, right? Which could take a little while. Sometimes these SOS phases can take a little bit while to sort of go sideways. So maybe we rejected the highs, we come back to the lows again, right? Before impulsing up. But real quick, I'm going to show you guys one of these that has actually played out, and that's over here on stablecoin dominance. Okay, stablecoin dominance had this exact same thing, and I still think it's going to play out, right? Where you had your Wyckoff accumulation structure here. You made your first low, your second low, your grind rounded structure. You came up, you had your first impulse up, worked on your second wave, which was your SOS phase in the Wyckoff accumulation, before then impulsing massively again. You guys can see right now we're actually working on the fourth wave on this before our final fifth wave. Okay, so if you look at where back to Zcash, right, you guys can see the resemblance of these, right, working on the SOS phase. I think right now Zcash is simply working on that SOS phase. However long it takes, I don't know, but I think this next impulsive move is about to be absolutely insane for Zcash. Now, how can we look at some price targets? Well, let's go over to our ZEC BTC chart, okay? Our Zcash Bitcoin chart. And you guys can see, why have we rejected so much for Zcash? Why have we consolidated so much below 740? Well, it is a major resistance on the USD pair, but if you actually look over here on Zcash Bitcoin, this is a massive resistance that we've been below since 2019. Okay, we had a major high here in July of 2020. Obviously, just put a major high here in November of 2025. We've kind of come back down, and now you guys can see that we're about to come back up. And you can look at this as sort of your classic cup and handle, which I think is funny, is if you actually look at the measured move of this cup and handle, if this was to break out, right, we have your massive cup, then your handle. This measured move of the cup and handle actually gets you to the next logical resistance point, which is this major low from February 2027 and this major low from December, what was this? February 2017 and December 2017. Actually, that measure move gets you pretty damn close to 0.02. Okay, now let's do a little math here. So if ZEC Bitcoin was to break out here, which it may not, maybe it rejects again, comes back down. But if it was to break out, a measure move of this from this low, from this to this, is 155% move. Let's assume Bitcoin does not, it kind of stays where it is, right? Maybe in 60, 70, 80Ks. Let's go back to ZEC. If ZEC was to go up 150%, right? This is assuming that Bitcoin stays steady and doesn't move. 150% move on ZEC, we get you somewhere around 1,600, okay? So that's kind of the TA and the analysis on the Wyckoff accumulation structure, where our next targets could be based on the ZEC BTC chart. But overall, guys, I'm super bullish on Zcash. On the long term, we're talking the weekly, the monthly. You have an absolutely massive 10-year accumulation pattern, right? This sideways accumulation has been going on for 10 years. Very, very rare that you find a 10-year Wyckoff accumulation structure that is just at the SOS phase, okay? Getting ready for that parabolic advance, right? Our second wave into the third wave, into the fourth wave, into the fifth wave, okay? Very, very rare. Now, we're going to talk about the fundamentals on Zcash in future videos, but I hope the chart, right, the technicals, if you are bullish on Zcash, kind of line up with your ideals and the fundamentals of why you believe in Zcash, because the technicals look great. Are we at the range highs? Yes. Could we pull back again? Yes, absolutely. But the long-term technicals could not look better for a massive run for Zcash to, in my opinion, become the number 2 crypto. I do think Zcash will overtake every crypto market cap wise besides Bitcoin. And I do think, in a sense, Zcash is a better Bitcoin, right? And we'll talk about that down the line when we talk about the fundamentals of Zcash. But really, Zcash is Bitcoin, but with the option to shield your transactions. It has the same 21 million tokens, okay? Has a hard cap just like Bitcoin does. And you can argue it's even more decentralized than Bitcoin for the simple fact that it's been in a 10-year accumulation. So anyone, really anyone had the chance to buy, right? Anyone had the chance to buy Zcash lower, okay? From $20 all the way up to $6.68. We haven't even broken out of the range yet. Anyone had a chance and still has a chance to buy Zcash extremely low, okay? So you could argue it's even more decentralized where you just have a very broad spectrum of holders, right, from $20 to $6.68. So that's kind of the Wyckoff accumulation schematic on Zcash, guys, and why I do think Zcash is going significantly higher in the next couple of years. Okay, maybe this is a multi-cycle thing, may not be one cycle, but as you guys can see, that Zcash really from 2025 has been in its own bull market, right? Bitcoin has been simply down since October 2025. Okay, Zcash has been up since October of 2025. Okay, so it really has been in its own bull market and really has a mind of its own, as shown in the Zcash Bitcoin pair, where most altcoins are absolutely getting shredded against Bitcoin. Zcash continues to rise against Bitcoin. Okay, so that's really it for today's video, guys. Just want to do a quick update video and sort of explain my thought process on this. Okay, obviously don't look at the time scales and the price scales of this Wyckoff, or basically this Elliott wave here. It could take longer, it could take shorter, but nevertheless, I think this is pretty accurate of how it's going to play out over the next couple years. Okay, it's been your boy Crypto Wizard. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Subscribe if you want more Zcash videos. I plan on making at least 3 videos on this channel every single week, talking about the Zcash technicals, talking about the Zcash fundamentals, and why I'm super bullish on Zcash going forward. This is the place to be for Zcash, guys. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace.